Okay, my friends, welcome, and I'd like to share one of my own games with you. It was played on chess.com against a young man from Canada, Raja Khan, who has the handle of Gringo. And I play d4, he plays knight f6, knight f3, g6. Nowadays I think I might just play something like bishop f4 and go into the London system against this kingside fianchetto. Or maybe knight bd2, trying to get e4 in one move. And we get a little known variation of the Perk defense, but here I chose c4, preparing to go king's Indian. d6, knight c3, bishop g7, e4, double zeros, bishop e2. It's all well known king's Indian stuff. Double zeros, e5. And here I chose rook to e1, simply because I know this variation. There are alternatives. I mean, bishop to e3. Initially, I didn't like this because the bishop can get hit by the knight coming to g4. But I don't think it's so bad for white as it appears to be, because even though black gets a lot of tempi on the bishop, black's kingside ends up looking like a kind of Swiss cheese here. And if we can open up the position, I don't think it's so bad for white. Okay, white has a preponderance of pawns here, but the position is kind of opening up. And it looks kind of equal, but, well, okay. I don't think white's getting mated or anything. Not yet, anyhow. The other alternative is d5, which is very similar to what happened in the game. Although I think this is a better version of it. See, b4 comes in, c5, and white has created some weaknesses that can attack here. Maybe something, the rook coming to the c file, putting pressure. d5 is probably a better alternative. But anyway, I knew rook e1, so I played that. And this I'd never seen before, b6. I mean, it is a known variation, it's simply I'd never seen it before. Bishop f1 and a5, and this is pretty annoying, because it stops my idea of playing b4 and c5, which is the entire sort of rationale for my counterplay, you know, creating weakness and playing on the queen side. And I never had a plan B, so I play something quite sort of insipid like b3, and I'm wondering what to do. Well, bishop b7, and here I played bishop b2. I don't think this is a good idea. I think it's much better for the bishop to be on b3, where it supports eventually maybe some idea of a3, b4 and c5, targeting the c5 square. Or sometimes if the knight comes to h5 and f4, we can sometimes swap it off if we're under pressure. I just think bishop b2 it's not a very flexible move, and it takes away some of these options. But, well, okay, what can we say? Knight g4. Got to kick that knight, and Gringo's preparing to play f5. a3, my idea of playing b4 and using it as a lever to get in c5, and Gringo's coming to get me. Okay, d5. f4, locking down on the king side, and b4 takes, and bishop to a6. Very interesting move. I don't want to play something like, you know, b5, locking down on the queen side. It's a bad idea. All my counterplays here on the queen side. So instead, I conceive to sacrifice a pawn and try and create some weaknesses on the queen side. So I play c5. It is in fact a pawn sacrifice. Bishops are exchanged, takes, and the knight comes into the game. But at least I have opened up files on the queen side. There's a backward pawn here on an open file. And at least I have a target. Knight a4, takes and takes. And this is the problem with the entire variation, is that I'm kind of forced now to exchange off a heavy piece. I mean, I'd love to be able to put this rook on c4. But the problem with it is that the queen can come and hit rook and bishop. If I defend, the rook's coming to the 7th. I'm just toast, you know. So it kind of forced me to take here on a8, giving up one of my heavy pieces. I mean, why open up files and create a weakness and then swap off the pieces that you need to use to put pressure on that? It doesn't make any sense. But I was kind of forced, so it had to be done. Queen b3, bishop f6. I mean, in theory I have better pieces. I mean, my bishop seems to be better than Gringo's bishop. It's blocked in by its own pawns. You see that? Mine's is free. The knight as such doesn't have much scope. It'll need to be rerouted. There's a weakness I have. If I can bring my pieces to bear on this weakness, I should be able to reduce Gringo to passivity. Well, that's a theory, in fact. But, I mean, this is a silly decision, rook a1. For reasons I've already explained. I mean, why swap off your heavy pieces when you need them for putting pressure on the weakness that you have created specifically for that? Queen c4, knight f7, bishop c3, bishop's coming here to put pressure, g5, and you can see I'm kind of reducing Gringo to passivity here. He's forced to defend this weakness. And this was my cunning plan. If I can get Gringo to exchange queens here, I'll be able to bring my king to put pressure on this point. If I can get my knight here, I'll be able to put pressure on this point. And Gringo very wisely declined. Knight d2, h5, he's coming to get me, f3, and g4. I mean, this move f3, it kind of, I don't know if it was a good idea. Maybe it's better to put a knight on f3. This here. Because it allows Gringo himself to create weaknesses. After f3, he can play g4. H to h, h to h. And king e2. And now I have a glaring weakness here, which is accentuated by this move here, g3. Knight b1. Knight is heading for here and here to put pressure on this point. King f8. And now I will be forced into passivity by defending this point here. I had seen all of this, but I had what I thought was a contingency plan. In the game I played queen to c1, but it would be much better knight to c2. And if the queen comes in, well, okay, I'm dancing about. But nothing, in fact, terrible is going to happen to me. I can hold this. In the game, I played queen c1. And when the queen came in, I'm the one that is being forced into passivity, defending this weakness. Knight came to d5, knight to c2, queen to a7, and knight b4. And Gringo has a wonderful tactical shot here. I wonder if you can work out what it is. It came as an absolute surprise to me during the game, and I was like, whoa. Well, he can in fact sacrifice material by playing the excellent knight takes on b4. And it's deadly to take this knight. If f takes, queen comes in, and these pawns get to roll. We can get something like this here. Look at that. It's deadly. For white. So I could not touch this knight. Brilliant move by Gringo. Knight takes on e4. And I went for the desperate knight to c6. But after this move here, I in fact resigned. Because queen is coming here, and I mean, what can I do? I'm just totally busted. So, even though I lost, it was a very enjoyable game. I'm trying to keep the balance during the game while countering one's opponent's offensive is what chess is all about. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed the explanation. I'll leave you with this thought. I mean, Gringo had asked me for some advice a while back, and it's clear that he is a much better player now. And it was Leonardo da Vinci himself who said that it's a wretched pupil that does not surpass his master. And I'm fairly happy, in fact, that Gringo has been able to surpass me. So thank you very much, my chess friends, for taking the time. And I wish you well with your own chess. Take care and goodbye.